Good morning. Yes, we get started. This is the regular open meeting of the Third Laguna Hills Mutual Board of Directors, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. Today is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, 9:30 a.m. We are in the boardroom at Community Center. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct a regular Third Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with the Civil Code 4920. I call the meeting to order. We do the Pledge of Allegiance with Director Parson.
If you would, please turn off your cell phones or silence them. There it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm calling for approval of the agenda, but before that, there is one item I want to move. Item number 9D, the updated committee appointment. I would like to move that to unfinished business as Part B, because that needs to be read. You cannot just, because they're all new committee members, we would like to read you to. What? You're shaking your head, Michaela.
Because it's not on B.
I think you could,
D.
you guys could still, you guys could still read the committee appointments and then approve the consent calendar with it being a part of the committee appointments.
Under the consent calendar?
Yeah, as long as there's no, if you're looking to make any changes to it, that's when you would need to.
There might be changes, yeah. There
Okay.
may be, because I think we have one changes on what is right here.
Okay.
So we move it to, okay. If that's acceptable, is somebody going to make a motion to approve it?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, comment there? If not, it's approved. Thank you. Approval of the minutes, all three of them, September 16, 2025, October 10, 2025, and October 10, 2025 for the special open meeting.
So
Do I
moved.
have
Second.
any comment, changes, concern? Thank you. It's approved. Report of the chair. Well, this is the first meeting of the 2026 board with the new board members that have been elected. I welcome all of them. And I guess we have a big agenda for the 2026 that this board going to be dealing with. And today also, we have a privilege to have Mr. Dennis Cafferty from El Toro Water to tell us about the water, what's going on with the El Toro Water District, and what are the exciting news coming out of them, and are we going to be paying more or less for the water? So with that, I give that to Dennis. Thank you for coming here, and we appreciate that. Please.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I've got quite a bit of things I want to cover, so we'll dive in.
Is this microphone?
Just to recap where water comes from, especially in Southern California and specifically El Toro Water District, all of our drinking water is imported. There, that's probably better. Next slide, please, Paul. So again, all of our drinking water is imported, meaning that every bit of the water that we produce for use outside of our recycled is coming from hundreds of miles away, either from the State Water Project, which originates at Lake Oroville several hundred miles to our north and then has to convey water through the California Aqueduct, through pumping facilities, hydroelectric facilities, and other conveyance facilities to get it all the way through the Central Valley and into Southern California with use all along the way. Or, next slide, the Colorado River Aqueduct, which brings water from basically snow melt from the Rockies through the all the 7 basin states that benefit from the Colorado River, as well as the country of Mexico. The Colorado River Aqueduct, ultimately conveying water 200 and some odd miles. Again, a variety of pumping facilities, storage facilities to get water to Lake Matthews and Riverside. That's really all of our drinking water. But then we also depend pretty significantly, next slide please, on local supplies, which is for us a significant advancement of recycled water facilities over the last 10 years. And then we depend significantly on all of our customers, and they have done a fantastic job over the years of recognizing the need to be as efficient as they can be with water use. We track it, and the reality is that from going back to 2013, our water use has dropped by, call it 25+% through the drought periods, and then when we got back into more plentiful periods, that water use did not tick back up, meaning people got the message and have been making an effort to be as efficient as they can. And we look at that kind of as a source of supply. Next slide, please. We've come a long ways as well in terms of how we manage water within our system and the reliability of the water supply portfolio, I'll call it. Back 10+ years ago, all of our drinking water came from one treatment plant up in Yorba Linda through one pipeline that brought water into our service area, and then a small amount of recycled water that we've been doing for decades at the Laguna Woods Village golf course. We've come a long ways since then. Next slide, please. As you can see on this pie chart, now half of our water comes from the Baker Water Treatment Plant that's in Lake Forest, kind of in our backyard. The half that still comes from the Deemer Filtration Plant up in Yorba Linda now comes through 2 separate regional pipelines into 2 different parts of our system. And then we've vastly increased the amount of recycled water that we produce and deliver. So a much more reliable means of delivering water through our system. Next slide, please. Many of you have heard me talk in the past about some of the challenges we face with water supply in California. The picture on the left is a perfect example. The far left of that series of 3 pictures is in December of 2022 at Lake Oroville when it was 30% full. And then 6 months later, it was 100% full. That's the kind of variation that we are now having to accommodate in weather in both California as well as in the Colorado River Basin. We're seeing far more precipitation than snow that we used to see. We're seeing it come in much more intense events, atmospheric rivers, and our ability to capture and benefit from those types of storms is going to be critical to the future of water. The picture you see on the right is not a summer and a winter. It's about the same period of time in 2 very different conditions, a very wet year and a very dry year. And those are the things that we have to adapt to going forward. Next slide, please. So we'll touch relatively quickly, and then I'll be happy to answer as many questions as you might have, on 5 different elements of what I'm calling the future of water. The Delta Conveyance Project, the Sites Reservoir Project, water reuse, challenges with the Colorado River, and desalination. Next slide, please. The Delta Conveyance Project is really focused on the California Sacramento-San Joaquin Bay Delta, which is a series of 57 different islands, 700 miles of waterways, and a series of levees that are containing water in a manner they were never designed to do. There's been a significant amount of subsidence, sea level rise, and those levees are having to contain water in a fashion they simply weren't engineered to handle. So they're extremely vulnerable to just natural failure. And then if there's a big earthquake, it has the potential to disrupt the ability to move water from Northern California, from Lake Oroville, from the Sierra Mountains to the Central Valley into Southern California. All of that water goes through the Delta. So if it fails, so does the State Water Project. So the Delta Conveyance Project, next slide please, is evolved over the years. Back in the day, it was the peripheral canal where they were going to build a canal all the way around the Delta. Then it was a 2-tunnel project. And more recently, they're looking at a single tunnel, 36-foot diameter, 45 miles long, that has the capability of delivering as much as 6,000 cubic feet per second of water through a couple different intakes. So it is intended to resolve a significant amount of the challenges with the Delta. Next slide, please. One of the biggest ones is, again, as we try to adapt to the different climatic conditions, what we're seeing happen in these really extreme rain events is so much of that water is simply flowing to the ocean. Had the Delta Conveyance Project been in operation for some time now, if you look at the table here, it shows it in the winter of 21-22, January of 23, and then the period from January to May of 24, it's almost 1.4 million acre-feet of water that went to the ocean that could have otherwise been recovered. In addition, they've estimated from October of 24 to June of 25, another 956,000 acre-feet of water that flowed to the ocean that we could otherwise have benefited from. So the Delta Conveyance Project is a significant water supply project. In addition, from a reliability standpoint, pushing that water in tunnels below ground eliminates the vulnerability that we have right now to the failure of the delta, to those levees from earthquakes and sea level rise. There is also significant investment in the environment being made as part of the design of that project. Habitat restoration, technology to prevent fish impacts as they're going to try and keep them out of pumping facilities and whatnot. So there's a lot of people that think this is absolutely critical. Next slide, please. However, there is also vast opposition to the project, especially from the people that live up in the Delta area. In their mind, what I just said about environmental investment is exactly the opposite, that this is an environmental disaster waiting to happen, that it'll impact fish, it'll impact habitat, construction impacts. In addition, they are very concerned this is simply a water grab, that Southern California is trying to steal their water. I would argue that you can manage those concerns. Contractually, there's only a certain amount of water that Southern California would have rights to, as well as to share in some of the water that might be preserved from otherwise going to the ocean. They are investing a whole lot of money in the environment. They are investing in manners in which we can try to mitigate impacts to fish. But again, the opposition is significant, both amongst the residents as well as elected officials up in that area. One of the other big issues, of course, is cost. The current estimate is $20 billion in 2023 dollars. So by the time they get around to building this, it'll be significantly more. The 47% of that cost will be borne by the Metropolitan Water District, from whom we buy our water. And in their most recent estimate, just last week at their finance committee, they put up some numbers that said the Delta Conveyance Project would cause them to raise rates 2% a year for the next 10 years, just for that project, in addition to any other cost impacts that might be driving their rates. So we will see what happens. Next slide, please. The site's reservoir. The state of California has not invested in a significant storage facility in decades, and that's one of the problems that we have as we look at these changing climatic conditions and our ability to capture water when it's really available and benefit from it when it's not. So this project addresses that issue. It's a 1.5 million acre-foot reservoir just up northwest of Sacramento that 4 miles wide, 13 miles long, 260 feet deep, that would allow us, and the important words right there is off-stream, meaning you're not putting a dam on an existing river. It's an off-stream facility which would have far less impacts to fish migration and spawning and things like that. It's a diversion facility, meaning when you do have that water, you put it in that reservoir, and then in dry years or drought years, you take it out. And so it doesn't have the same impacts that you would have if you were damming up an existing river. So it's a in my mind at least, a particularly important project that would allow us to deal with some of these issues when we go through drought conditions. It's a beneficiary pays project, meaning those that invest in it are the ones that will benefit from it, but it's expensive, up to $6 to $7 billion. Metropolitan Water District share is about 22%, but this one has some legs. They are in their final stage of securing their water rights permit. They do have some final property acquisitions they need to complete, but they're talking about potentially starting construction as soon as next year. And if they do that, it could be in operation by the end of the decade. So I'm excited about this one. The only concern I have about it is its location is north of the Delta. So if you have this facility and there is a Delta failure, we would still have some challenges in moving water through the Delta. So it's a combination of these factors we have to deal with. Next slide, please. Water reuse, as I mentioned when we started, a big part, especially in Southern California, especially in Orange County. El Toro Water District has invested significantly in water recycling facilities over the last 10 years. We've produced nearly 5 billion gallons of recycled water in that period that has offset the need to import water from hundreds of miles away from these other facilities. So where we go next is something we are looking at. The reality is we have invested in the most cost-effective recycled water projects. We've picked the low-hanging fruit. Further expansion of recycled water in our system will be somewhat more expensive. We're dealing with some financial challenges with that system. We invested over $40 million, We have ongoing debt, a couple $1 million a year of debt service that the revenue from selling recycled water doesn't pay for all of that. And so we're having to look at how much water we sell, and we went through a couple years of significantly declining recycled water sales as we had some very wet years, as well as some lower water purchases by some of our customers, choices that are entirely theirs to make. Let me be very clear about that. But when we sell less water, it makes looking at future expansion of the recycled system a little more challenging. So we're trying to figure that out and see if there are opportunities there. The groundwater replenishment system, just to touch briefly on that, that's an Orange County Water District project that benefits the Orange County groundwater basin. We don't have any rights to it, but it is an important project. It's producing 130 million gallons every day of drinking water that they're taking wastewater, running it through treated wastewater, and then running it through an advanced purification system that basically produces drinking water that they put into the groundwater basin to recharge that basin that has benefited the basically from Irvine and north in Orange County significantly. Not something that benefits us, but next slide, please. Metropolitan Water District has what they call their Pure Water Project, which is somewhat similar. It's a partnership between Metropolitan and Los Angeles County Sanitation District up in Carson, where they would be building basically a similar facility where it would take treated wastewater, run it through an advanced purification system, highly treated, basically produces drinking water, and then they would distribute it in their system to recharge some groundwater basins, as well as potentially use it when what they call raw water augmentation, meaning deliver that water to the front end of conventional water treatment plants to supplement the supply for those drinking water treatment plants. They are looking at a phase one project that could be in the neighborhood of 115 million gallons per day, but it comes at a significant cost. They're estimating around $10 billion. Another project that could add as much as 2% to the rates going forward. So the technology is clear. It's something that could significantly benefit water supply, but whether or not it's worth that investment is something the Metropolitan Water District Board has not figured out yet. They've spent a lot of money on kind of the preliminary stages of the project, but whether or not they commit to the full implementation remains to be seen. And then direct potable reuse is kind of the holy grail of the next level of water supply type projects, and that is where you take treated wastewater, you run it through an extremely advanced purification system that is highly regulated, that would produce drinking water that is put directly into the potable water distribution system. The technology exists, the regulations exist, but we're probably a good 10 years away from that happening. There's a lot of kind of things that would have to happen, but we're looking at it. We're looking at it both locally as well as partnering with other agencies to see if it makes financial sense. And of course, there would be a huge amount of public outreach necessary to convince people that this is safe. I can tell you it is, but there's a lot that we would have to do to convince people of that. Again, I think importantly, we're a good 10 years away from that being something that might be reality. But again, technologically, extremely feasible. Next slide, please. Colorado River. So as I said, the Colorado River is extremely important to us in terms of water supply, but there are significant challenges. We talk about climate, we talk about drought conditions. The Colorado River Basin has basically been in a series of drought conditions for over 20 years now. The Colorado River Basin is broken into two basins. The upper basin, which is the states of Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico, and the lower basin, which is California, Arizona, and Nevada. And then the country of Mexico also has rights to a certain amount of water. The challenge is the Colorado River was allocated in 1922 through the Colorado River Compact. They allocated 7.5 million acre feet per year to the upper basin and a similar amount to the lower basin, and then by treaty, 1.5 million acre feet to the country of Mexico. That's 16.5 million acre feet of water allocation every year. Estimates are there's about 12 million acre feet of actual water in the river, and that doesn't factor in, and that does not yet factor in evaporation. So we are using more water than there is. And that's why Lake Powell and Lake Mead were essentially full in the late 90s, and now they're both running around 30%. So we have drawn those reservoirs down more than is practical, and we continue to take 3.5 to 4 million acre feet more out of the river than there actually is every year. That cannot continue. One of the challenges is going to be at Lake Powell. And the picture you see here is Glen Canyon Dam. It generates a significant amount of hydroelectric power managed by the Bureau of Reclamation. They simply are not going to let the level in Lake Powell drop below that which they can safely produce hydroelectric power. So they're going to have to, they're waiting for the upper basin and lower basin to get their act together, so to speak, and find a way to negotiate agreements to use less water. But if that doesn't happen, the federal government's going to take unilateral action, and then it's going to get really messy. Next slide, please. Less water out of Lake Powell means less water in Lake Mead, which has specific triggers on water use reductions in the lower basin. California has not yet been impacted because we have senior water rights, but Nevada and Arizona already have been. And the projections that the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation has done through the next several years shows some potentially pretty significant impacts. So the simple reality is we deal with the warming climate, we deal with drier soils, and everything that's impacting the availability of water is that we are going to have to find a way to reduce the water that's being used from the river. The problem is those two basins, the upper and the lower basins, are not exactly getting along. Think Republicans and Democrats. It's about that wide a divide. The upper basin, who uses far less water than what they are allocated, believes we're not even using our 7.5 million acre feet. Any reduction should come from the people that are using more water in the south. The lower basin thinks, hey, we've invested in recycled water, in water use efficiency, and all these things to mitigate use. You guys haven't done that up there. You need to be taking a part of it. We all need to share in the reductions. And they are vastly separated on that approach. There's a deadline coming. The federal government wants to see an agreement by November 11th. I'm skeptical that that's going to happen. The existing guidelines expire late next year. And if something isn't done, the federal government's going to say, okay, here's what you're going to do. And that's when litigation will start. So I am very curious to see how this plays out. Next slide, please. Desalination. There are some very successful operating desalination facilities in the state of California. Down in Carlsbad, there's a 50 million gallon per day facility that's operating. And then you have some smaller facilities in Santa Barbara and Catalina. There are not a whole lot of them statewide, but it is obviously a technology that works. It's being done worldwide significantly. And so we know how to do it. In fact, there's another plant that's being proposed down in Dana Point, the Doheny Desalination Project, that's at this point planned for about 5 million gallons per day with the potential to expand it to 15. It has some significant benefits. Some of the environmental issues I'll mention in a moment, they have figured out how to mitigate. They are currently in design, and it's a design-build project that early next year they're going to come up with, the design-build company that's been awarded the project will come up with what they call their guaranteed maximum price. And based on that number, all of the potential participants will decide whether or not they're going to proceed. So I'm very curious to see what that number comes in at. From a technology standpoint, we know how to do this. In fact, the wastewater treatment and desalination are not that different. It's a reverse osmosis system that basically takes everything out of the water. So we know how to do it. Obviously, from a location standpoint, you have to be near the coast in order for this project to make any sense. But those environmental challenges are real. There's significant environmental concerns about when you bring water in from the ocean and the impact to aquatic life, to marine life. And then if a 50 million gallon per day plant is going to bring 100 million gallons in, produce 50 million, and then the other 50 million is going back out with double the salt. And so there's concerns about what that impact is out in the ocean. That's basically what killed the proposed project up in Huntington Beach a few years ago, where you had a willing developer and a willing buyer for 50 million gallons every day of water, and the Coastal Commission killed the permit because of the environmental concerns. Again, the Doheny project seems to have figured out how to mitigate those concerns and is moving along. But as with all these things, there are going to be cost challenges. We buy water from Metropolitan Water District right now for about $1,500 per acre foot. I will not be surprised if the desal cost is $3,000. So where's the line between reliability and the benefit of not having to rely on water from hundreds of miles away versus what it costs that obviously then has to be translated to the consumers who are actually buying the water. So we'll see how that project proceeds. It's not a project that the El Toro Water District is participating in simply because they can't get the water to us. And I get the regional benefit, but from my standpoint, spending, let's call it $3,000 an acre foot that our customers have to pay for, and then not being able to get that water in an emergency if I don't have water coming from our normal supplies, That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to us. And we talked a lot to the South Coast Water District that's building that project about whether or not we could get the water, and there just hasn't been a way to do it, so it didn't seem like a wise investment. So I know that's a lot in a very short amount of time. Happy to answer any questions, but that's my current view on the future of water.
Thank you, Mr. Gafford. Let's open up the question from the board. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, when do you foresee these rate increases hitting us?
So every year, I guess, is the simple answer.
Beginning,
The rate increases they're talking about for those projects, and again, neither, the two big ones for Metropolitan, and what they just did last week at their finance committee, at their board's request, their finance team put together an analysis as, all right, if we did everything, we did the Delta Conveyance Project, we participate in sites, they've got as well as the Pure Water Project, those are the three big ones, and then they've got some other stuff they got to do as well. What is the impact? But keep in mind, their baseline right now, they have underinvested in some things recently. They think that they need to increase just their capital investment in their own system by about $300 million a year, which is about 50%. As well as they say they have about 1,900 to 2,000 staff. They say they're 200 to 300 people short. So in trying to resolve those issues, their baseline is probably 2 years of 9-ish% rate increases, just on the just to do what they have to do, and then everything else is on top of that.
that's
So
beginning when?
they do a 2-year budget that we'll know more. Their 2026 rates are set, so the next rate increase would be for Now, the 2026 rates included a rate increase,
Okay.
but the next decisions they make will start with their 2027 rate. So they're weird. They have a fiscal year budget, but a calendar year rate basis. So all their rate increases take place on January 1st. So we'll know more as they go through their budget process into the first part of next year.
Any other question?
Yeah, I just want to, thank you, I think, for the information. It's so important here to us because our water bill is part of our monthly assessment, and so we don't see it individually. And I think what you've highlighted for us is not just the lack of water here to start with, but the fact that the cost is going to keep going up, which means we have to really work on conserving. That's the only thing we're going to be able to do to save our water and to help keep those costs down a bit is conserving. And so it's certainly very timely, for you to share this with us. Whatever happens, the bills are going to go up, I would assume.
That's the reality. I mean, obviously, what it costs us to buy the water, and what we typically do when Metropolitan Water District increases their rates, we simply pass that through. We don't, our commodity rate, what we charge for the actual water, we've not added any of our operational costs to it. We just increase it by the amount that it costs us to buy the water. But we have our fixed charge and our capital charges. That's where we have to consider the costs of our operations and the cost of essential reinvestment in the system. The biggest challenge we have, and really the biggest challenge of every water agency I know in our region. I go to these meetings and they say, what's your biggest challenge? I say aging infrastructure, and I watch heads nod up and down across the room. We were founded in 1960. So we have infrastructure that is getting older and older, and if we have to reinvest in it or it won't work, or we won't be able to maintain the reliability of the service we provide to the community. So we have our own internal cost pressures in order to ensure the reliability of the system in addition to what it costs us to buy the water. And so all of those things are driving rates. So we have to find that balance of the investment that's essential in the system, but recognizing the impact of rates and the impact on the affordability of water. And it is a difficult balancing act.
And I just wanted to share with everybody here and those who will be in the audience when this is repeated, we do have a water conservation committee here in Third Mutual because it is so important. And the meeting will be a week from Thursday right here in this room at 2 o'clock. And anyone you know who you think might be interested, We'd love to have him here. Our water usage has gone up in the last several months. And again, we don't see it individually in our bill, so it makes it really more challenging. And so thank you for.
And just, if I might say, and it has, but it has across our entire system. It's really interesting when we present water use to our board, but we went through a couple very strange years. We went through extreme drought, and then we went through 2 years of extremely wet weather. We had a tropical storm, for crying out loud, which, you know, is not something we see very often. And so we saw a couple years of significantly declining water use, and then when it starts to pick back up, it looks dramatic comparatively. But again, when I look back long-term, over going back to, and we track it going all the way back to 2013, we are still to this day using 25 to 30% less water in 2025 than we did in 2013.
Thank you. Any other question? I have one question. I know the cost of the water and water conservation and all of that. Can you tell us about the water safety, what you guys doing about water safety, about the forever chemicals and PFAS and all of that? Because this is a, fire country, and we use huge amount of chemicals to fight fires. And is it impacting us at all? How we assure that their water safety is taken care of?
So, and I appreciate that question, because the first thing I will say is water quality is our first. When I teach classes in water distribution, and I tell students that basically the job of water distribution operators are threefold. It's water quality, job one, reliability, and then it's efficiency, which kind of goes a little bit, not necessarily counter, but doing everything for as low a cost as possible is difficult when we try to do those first two. But water quality is job one, and we spend a tremendous amount of time. The water that we bring into the system from Metropolitan Water District is highly treated, extremely safe, and then it's our job within our water distribution system to ensure that it stays that way. And there's a whole lot of components that go to that, including things that we do to maintain the appropriate disinfection so there's no bacteriological challenges with the water. We do a tremendous amount of sampling on a regular basis to ensure that the water remains safe to drink all the way to the customer's tap. So it is something that we invest significantly in. Again, it is one of our, in fact, one might even argue our primary core responsibility that we take extremely seriously. But specifically to the forever chemicals or PFAS is what you'll hear them referred to as. When PFAS reared its ugly head, it is the first and only time that I have been thankful that we do not have groundwater. PFAS has largely been a groundwater issue. We have not seen any detection of PFAS in the surface water that is being treated and produced by Metropolitan Water District. It has been, and you're right, fire, one of the contributory effects that causes PFAS is some of the fire retardants, especially around military bases and airports. And then there's a variety of things that have contributed to it, but it's something that has gotten into rivers, or not necessarily rivers, but runoff facilities. One of the biggest contributors of PFAS to this day remains us. It's in all of us. And so it's when you get it into like the Santa Ana River that impacts the Orange County groundwater basin. So I think there were over 100 wells in the Orange County groundwater basin that were impacted. It had to originally be shut down, and then they had to start buying import water, which cost them a fortune, until they were able to build some very expensive PFAS treatment facilities. So they figured out how to treat for it, but it was really expensive. We have not had to deal with that on the drinking water side. My bigger concern is that they start to regulate it on the wastewater side, and then things are going to get expensive because they're concerned about it being in recycled water, which doesn't, again, when it doesn't percolate into the ground, it doesn't have an impact on drinking water, but they're also concerned about it being in biosolids that are disposed of after treatment at wastewater plants. And so if they start to regulate PFAS removal from wastewater, then things get nasty. But it's not, for us at least, been a drinking water quality issue.
Thank you very much. That assures our members that the water that we're drinking is safe, and you guys taking care of us. That's very important to us.
The most important thing I can say about the quality of our drinking water is I personally drink it every day.
Me too.
I'm drinking this bottle because it was sitting in front of me, but when I drink water at home and I drink water at work, it comes out of the tap.
That's great. It's good to know. Any other question, comment? If not, Mr. Derns-Gaffney, I really appreciate you coming here and, giving us the presentation. And we enjoyed it, and we hope to see you more often here with us and tell us about all the progress that we're making with saving waters and, reducing the cost of the water. Because that's one of our, as Donna said, that's one of the important things that we
The
do.
reducing the usage is up
Yeah.
to us, so.
Well, we always can use help from El Toro Water. They give us some cue on what to do.
Absolutely, and it was my privilege to be here, and as I've said before, we never turn down invitations, so happy to come back anytime you like.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much. You have a great day. Thank you. Okay, I think we continue with the meeting. Now we are on 5B, report of the chair. I don't have any report because the president is on vacation and he didn't give me any report, so.
But his first vacation in a long time.
Well, I had to put it to him. Okay, we go to item 6, open forum. At this time, members only may address the board of directors regarding the items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this board of directors. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. The speaker may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recording by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. Member can attend the meeting by joining Zoom also, and those are available for the, for the members to get on Zoom and pose their question. Do we have member comment?
Yes, first member is Leah Cushman.
First, let me say thank you to all of the board members for everything that you do. You are greatly appreciated. I'm going to read some notes because I didn't memorize them. So I'm here to support Robin Meeder, a neighbor of mine, sitting over here in my building, with feedback to the third board about her 5 encounters with compliance since June. They are problematic and emblematic of encounters with compliance that others in our building have had very recently. We are here to suggest adjustments the third board could make to how compliance manages complaints so as to diminish the distressing impact their behavior has on residents. Robin received third mutual compliance courtesy letters on June 13th about her patio, on June 24th about the breezeways, and on October 17th about the breezeways and the common property on the fence line. She met in person with a compliance staff member around June 20th, and she and I met with Jacob from compliance in person on July 24th. In the approximate June 20th encounter, the compliance person found items to be corrected that hadn't been specified in the June 13th letter, so additional items. This inconsistency was unexpected and distressing. After the June 24th letter came out, we discovered that Ms. Meader's letter demanded removal of an item from her unit that was not addressed in the letter to another unit in the building with the same item, another inconsistency. When we met with Jacob on July 24th, he orally approved all corrections named in the June 13th and June 24th letters, as shown in her photos. Thus, the October 17th letter citing the same matters was a complete surprise. The October 17th notice was entitled Request for Compliance, Final Notice. This addressed the side and front breezeways, which had already been approved by Jacob, planters against the fence, which had not been written up before, the side closet of the building, which does not belong to her unit, some trash that had blown in from someone else's balcony, and overwatering. The overwatering is the only item mentioned in a previous notice, and hence really the only item that could be construed as needing a final notice, if final notices appear on the second notice. What looks like overwatering is actually spillover from the irrigation system spraying onto the breezeway.
Excuse me,
Uh-huh.
you have spent your 3 minutes. Do you have
Oh.
a lot more, or
I
you're going to wrap
have
it up?
maybe another minute and a half. It's,
Can you submit that rather than?
I
keep reading?
can. You want me to give this to you?
Yes, give it to secretary.
Okay.
We appreciate that. Because since it's written, we can take care of it. Thank you.
So your next speaker is Robin Meter.
I too appreciate all that you do, and thank you.
Thank you.
On Sunday, both toilets in my unit had bubbles. I figured that was an anomaly. On Monday, both toilets in my unit had bubbles. I called security, knowing that that was an emergency, was told it was not an emergency, and was referred to member services, who told me it was not an emergency, and scheduled a inspection of the line for the following week. Meanwhile, I'm living in fear that the toilets would overflow as they had done previously. So I want to ask the board to consider the fact that maintenance is about prevention as much as about correction. Prevention, after all, saves resources, time, and money. This should have been addressed as an emergency, as the plumber who came to take care of it 4 days later finally told me it should have been addressed as an emergency. And I want to just carry on after what Leah said. And I want to ask the third board, if you have the purview, can you sit down with compliance and look at their business operation? If you can, examine the procedures of the compliance department for reasonable explanations for sending staff members to the same unit repeatedly, each time citing new issues, entailing production of dissemination and filing of separate notices for each, and determining that any 3 notices given to an address constitute a final notice when each notice dealt with separate issues, characterizing the resident thus as a scofflaw. Is this an efficient use of village resources? So, basically that's my issue. Please, as the board, take a look with compliance at their procedures and try to cut back on the extra use of time and staff and resources. And also, please take a look with the security and educate them about what is an emergency when it comes to sewers, water, which is so precious to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I just ask what her manor number is?
Yeah, what's their manor number?
It's 3371, Unit A1.
Thank you. Any more?
Yeah, I have a couple more. Catherine Bryans.
Sorry, I dropped my show and tell. I'm Catherine Bryans. I'm here today on behalf of the History Center of Laguna Woods. And I'd like to say also thanks for your service to your community. I would like to share a few of the gifts, what I call gifts, that the center has given to our community. Because of numerous questions coming in and people wanting to know about our architecture, who the architects were, what architectural firm, are we considered mid-century modern? So we asked an Orange County renowned architect, Richard Dodd, to speak and host a gathering of over 150 people. As a nonprofit organization, we do not charge admission to residents, but we never ever turn down a donation. The History Center has a long and strong relationship with the Moulton family and their new museum. We held an exhibition of Nellie Gail Moulton and her granddaughter Jane Barnes' artwork. Most of the paintings come from the family's private collection and had not been shown in public. Over 450 people came through to view the exhibitions. Also, the tree guides. I don't know if you're aware of them, but they've been around for a couple years. Even if you don't live near the walks in the United area, it gives you a chance to look at some trees and get some names. Also, we're in response to requests for people visiting the center, and they're now in their third printing. And we hope they were completely done by volunteers. Pat Wilkinson and Jean Lustig researched, wrote, and photographed the guides, and we hope someone will step forward soon and sponsor the fourth printing. Also, the 50th anniversary book, which I hope you're aware of. It has excellent pictures and stories about our village. It was written and by volunteers and self-published by the History Center. Copies aren't available anymore, but there's some at the library. Long-term resident interviews will focus on moving into the village and how it changed over the years, and we're doing that as we go along. Also, a request. We would love to have people bring information to us about our village, perhaps family or whatever, and we're looking for photographs and videos from 1980 forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Tom Forsch.
Good morning. I'm at 5358 Algarobo, and I border Calle Azul, the main street that goes up to Clubhouse 5. I've been here just over 10 years, and when I first came here, security gave me a ticket for not stopping long enough at a stop sign, which I was pretty ticked off at, because they, I explained that I was new here. I didn't, made some excuses, anyway, got off on it. But in the meantime, the security here is non-existent as far as I can see. There's speeders on this Calle Azul going 40, 50 miles an hour, and nobody ever approaches them, warns them, or anything like that. So it's getting dangerous. It wouldn't surprise me if there's an accident anytime soon. Also, I walk quite a bit, and I came out of just off Algarobo, and a car was approaching me, didn't stop at all. There's a stop sign. They would have hit me if I wouldn't had just been conscious of what's going on and stopped. And the guy just waved to me. So this is the kind of things that I observe here on a daily basis. I don't know, have we cut back on security here? It seems like there's like one patrol car in the whole village, and there used to be 3 or 4. Okay, well, I'll leave that. I'll throw the ball in the court here and let you guys address that. Also, I like to talk about landscape. Is that a possibility here? Or do I need to wait?
Yeah, 53 seconds. Say what you want.
Okay. Well, I think, especially you two guys, you know who I am, and I'm very upset with the landscape overall. I think we should fire this guy, Kurt, and get somebody that's...
Would you please not to use names?
Okay.
Present your complaint. Don't use names because
Okay.
that's not proper. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Okay. But, I've been coming here for years now, and it's just been passed over, ignored. We need to get on with this. The slopes look terrible. They don't even clean the sidewalks. It's part of their job. It's a dead end here with these guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have more? One more? Okay.
Yeah, we have one email. It's from Chris Collins
Okay.
regarding the foundation of Laguna Woods. I'm here on behalf of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village with a report on the work that we do on behalf of residents experiencing temporary financial crisis. We've recently observed National Preparedness Month. After the LA fires, we have become all too aware of the threat of wildfires, but natural disasters can take different forms. California is also affected by earthquakes. Large earthquakes are rare but can be fearsome. Only weeks ago, there was a 3.5 quake in Rialto. As a result, we should be aware of how to respond to earthquakes if one should occur. That is the focus of planning for the unpredictable and aired on recent television broadcasts. Grace Denzel, the resident clubhouse coordinator for Clubhouse 3, says the key to earthquake protection are 3 words: plan, prepare, and practice. If an earthquake occurs, do you know the safest place in your manor, how to best protect yourself from injury, and are you comfortable taking the appropriate actions? Grace answered all 3 questions. In addition, Grace explains what to do if you are in a wheelchair or if you can't get down on the floor to protect yourself. The broadcast of the interview with Grace Denzel, which aired on Village Television recently, and all the interviews which are part of the Planning for the Unpredictable series can be accessed as YouTube videos on the Foundation's website, foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org, under the special tab, Disaster Preparation. In addition, the Foundation's website also includes the August interview with Aaron Kennedy, the Special Services Manager in Security Department. He provides an introduction to the Disaster Task Force, explains the importance of establishing a good neighbor network in the village, and invites residents to volunteer. You can contact the Foundation at foundationlwv@gmail.com. Please note this is a new email address with any questions. For more information about the Foundation, please go to foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. And that is all for open forum.
Thank you. Okay. Any response to the speakers from anybody? None? Okay. Well, on the, oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just suggesting that for the 2 folks who had issues with compliance, that we take some specifics and go and look into what specifically happened and see if there's a process issue associated with it. Since many times what appears to be a personnel issue is really a process where the right people are not concerned or not involved earlier. So that's...
Yeah, I think Ms. Foster, we're going to take care of that part. Also, the one about the MNC side of it, with the toilet backing up, all of that. She will look that with the staff and discuss and give response back. Yes, Steve.
Tom, okay, I live close to you. I live close to you on Algarobo. If you could give me some specifics. You mentioned about sidewalks and slopes. If I'm in 5355P, if we can get together sometime. We're just a couple buildings away.
I'm not talking about just the sidewalk where I live, but the whole village.
Yeah.
These, the big slopes, there's been some runoff from the water, and they just, isn't our landscape department supposed to
Okay.
block these
Yeah.
sidewalks?
Let's not get it
Yeah.
in debate, but
Yeah,
he's
let's
the
get
head of
together.
landscape. He's gonna look into it and get back on that one. But let's not get back and forth on that. Any other comment? On security side, we haven't reduced the number of security staff. We have limited number of security car that have cameras and they can give tickets. And we are not going to be in every corner like any other, police or security, that we are not going to be at every corner of the street to watch everybody. There are certain responsibility reside with the members also, But if they cut, they will get fined. If they don't, they don't. They're lucky that day. But, we cannot have, more than what we have on the, security side. We haven't cut any security. We have the same numbers, and they doing, they're working hard to make sure that we are safe and secure in the community. So that's not true that we cut any security, but we don't have 500 cars that, with the cameras that goes around and give tickets. We have only 3, right? That's limited. And sometimes we set up, the speed zone and, they try to do the best they can. But what I'm trying to say, that a lot of responsibility reside with the members also. This is our community. It's a gated community. We live here. We should respect each other. We should respect it, the sign. We should respect the traffic rules, and we need to pitch in. We cannot rely on policing this community 24 hours a day with 200 to 300 staff. Can't do that. Please, we have to take some responsibility ourselves for that too. So that's my comment on that one. And any other comments? If not, well, we go to the next item, which is the number 8, CEO report.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable First Vice President, members of the board. It's my privilege this morning to give you updates on what is happening in the village. The first item I want to touch on is reminding our residents to enroll in SCE power outage alerts. There have been a number of recent power outages in the community, and oftentimes our residents call security first, but they really need to be in the SCE system to receive notifications from the electric company. This is especially true for those who rely on electricity for medical equipment. So to register with Southern California Edison for outage alerts and updates, you can log into your SCE account if you have one. If not, please visit sce.com/outage center/outage alerts to register. This allows you to view current outages, check maintenance schedules, and so forth. For other questions or concerns, you can contact Edison Customer Service directly at 800-655-4555 or visit sce.com. I also wanted to touch on workplace and community safety. We're pleased to announce that our safety team has recently inspected all automatic external defibrillators, known as AEDs, to ensure full operation and charged batteries, and recently installed a new AED at the pickleball courts, which is a good place to have one. Board leadership and BMS staff, City Council, city staff, and Laguna Beach Animal Services continue to collaborate on coyotes in our community. One way the city and Animal Services is taking action is by clarifying who our residents should contact and when to improve awareness and strengthen sightings of coyotes in our community that can focus Animal Services responses. First off, call 911 if you or someone else is in imminent danger or under threat. Contact Laguna Beach Animal Services to report encounters with coyotes exhibiting aggressive behavior, knowledge of a coyote attack, witness to active wildlife feeding, or dogs off leash or on leashes longer than 6 feet. The new city non-emergency coyote hotline is at 949-639-0501 or via email at code@cityoflagunawoods.org. And this hotline should be used for pet food or water bowls left outside that can be an attraction to coyotes or coyote prey, fallen or low-hanging fruit, birdseed on the ground, overgrown vegetation that could conceivably provide habitat for coyotes. So we encourage our residents to be vigilant and to make contact because this allows resources to be allocated accordingly. Another update that I want to share with the community is that VMS recently completed a project that enhances services and reduces costs. This is known as the POTS Migration Project. POTS stands for Plain Old Telephone. So it's a migration away from regular telephone lines to modern dual carrier cellular systems through AT&T and Verizon. And this takes care of the fire alarm panels throughout the community and 87 elevators that are equipped with telephones. Old telephone technology is going away, so now we have a redundant system in place. And this actually saves money. Phase 1, which took care of the clubhouses, community center, maintenance yard, and golf facilities, reduced monthly costs by about $7,000. And Phase 2 will save upwards of $12,000 per year. So not only do we get a better system, we save some costs in the meantime. The Maintenance and Construction Department is working on Shepherd's Crook fence installations in United and Third. Third's installations are going on along Santa Maria Avenue, and El Toro Road is the focus of United's Shepherd's Crook installations this year. The mutuals will replace about 970 feet of barbed wire with decorative Shepherd's Crook iron fencing. In terms of the Ting Fiber project update, the installations are going along well in the Avenida Sevilla, Cali, Aragon area. Node 11, for instance, has about 74% of the installations completed. Nodes 9 and 8 started on October 13th and are starting to increase the number of installations there. Work at Node 13 in the Northeast region is about to begin. One big reminder, though, we want to extend to our residents about this project. We're reminding residents not to cancel West Coast Internet yet, even if you have the Ting system. Residents should keep their West Coast Internet accounts active until the Ting fiber network is fully tested and certified. Some manners are connected, but system-wide testing and validation are still underway. Ting must complete outage simulations and performance checks before final approval. And residents will want that backup system from West Coast Internet during testing to maintain connectivity. I wanted to touch on options for the statewide election that's coming up on November 4th. There's a ballot drop box at the Laguna Woods City Hall. That's open now through November 4th at 8 p.m. It has 24-hour access. The vote center is also going to be at City Hall. It will be open November 1st to 3rd from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and November 4th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And just a reminder, you can track your ballot online at ocvote.gov/VLT. And lastly, I want to end with a highlight of our year every year, and that is VMS employees who have recently been honored for decades of service to the community. And I want to extend my sincere thanks to these employees for their dedication, commitment, and support of our community throughout the year. On the first slide are those employees with 20 years of service. I'm not going to read through them by name, but hopefully you can take a look, and if you encounter any of them, please share your appreciation. On the next slide, though, we have employees celebrating 25 and 35 years of service to the community. Under 25 years, we have David Gomez, an irrigation foreman, and Juan Hernandez, a maintenance carpenter technician. Serving the community for 35 years are Miguel Carmenina, a fleet supervisor, and Lauro Robles, an irrigation technician. And lastly, those who have served the community for more than 40 years. At 40 years, we have Leonardo Lopez, a tree foreman, John Ortiz, a senior maintenance plumber. 45 years is Paul Ortiz, our assistant general services director and our broadband general manager. And incredibly, Felipe Arteaga is a mechanical shop foreman who has served our community for 55 years. So just want to end on a high note.
Kudos to all of them.
Thank you.
Kudos to all of them.
Thank you.
Question?
Sure.
In a meeting, I heard that animal control wanted to know if there were coyote pats that people noticed. How are we to report those?
I would report those on the new Coyote hotline or send an email to the address.
Okay.
there was question about can us do something about coyote. My understanding is that we have no jurisdiction, we have no way to handle coyotes. All we have to do is just get in touch with the animal control. I just want to make sure the member understand that this board, we can't do anything. We cannot, remove them. We cannot treat them. We cannot do anything with the coyotes.
That is
So-
correct. It's under contract between the
Exactly.
city and Laguna Beach Animal Services. However, our residents can be vigilant and not leave pet food outside.
That- yeah.
Use short leashes, have deterrent tactics available and so forth.
Just be aware of, I usually carry a stick with me when I walk the dog, and, try to protect yourself and watch behind you, because I heard that sometimes they come behind you, especially if you have small dog. The large dog they're afraid of, but, just be vigilant. I mean, we're living in a resort area.
Or you're adjacent to wild, open
Yeah,
space.
it is
Yes.
an open space. Okay, thank you. We go to item 9, consent calendars. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committee and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such item shall be subject to further discussion and action by the board, which we removed item D and we put it under number 10. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, discussion.
Yeah, on the mutual committee assignments, the one correction I need to make is on.
Yeah, that's what I moved. We're going to discuss, we're going to
Oh,
read
okay,
that.
okay.
That's the one we moved to item 10, correct? B.
10B, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any other question? Any, no more? Then it approved. Okay. We go to item 10, unfinished business. Number A, entertain motion to approve revision of alteration fee schedule. Madam Secretary.
Resolution 0325XX, alteration fee schedule. Whereas alteration and variance requests require significant staff time for proper processing, including research, report preparation, presentation to the appropriate committee and board, and whereas several tasks are performed in conjunction with alteration and variance requests, namely plan check changes, mutual consent re-inspections, correction notice re-inspections, and exclusive use common area use agreement. And whereas, in order to account for the staff time spent processing the tasks above, the board has adopted 2025 alteration fee schedule. And whereas the 2025 alteration fee schedule more accurately reflects the fees associated with all the administrative time it takes to process all the associated costs. Now therefore be it resolved, October 21st, 2025, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions to the alteration fee schedule as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further that Resolution 03-17-120, adopted October 20th, 2017, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that Resolution 3-19-131, adopted December 17th, 2019, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that Resolution 03-2369, adopted June 20th, 2023, is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolve further that Resolution 03-23-131, adopted November 21st, 2023, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that Resolution 032587, adopted April 20th, 2025, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that future revisions to the alteration fee schedule will be reviewed and undertaken as one cohesive resolution every year with board approval. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written. This is September initial notification, 28-day review.
Do I have a motion? Steve,
I shall move.
second, anybody?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, all say aye.
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 Okay, that's approved. Now we go to item B, which is updated committee appointment, the resolution. Okay.
I thought we were putting this on hold for future.
No.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna go, we're just gonna say who's on the committee, and there's some
Okay.
change, and as we
Okay,
go through,
gotcha.
we make that correction, right?
Okay. All right, so this is a resolution initiated recently because we have new board members and a new president and officers. The resolution is 0325XX, Third Mutual Committee Appointments. Resolved October 21st, 2025, that the following persons are hereby appointed to serve on the committees and services of this corporation. Resolved further that each committee chair may appoint additional members and advisors with interim approval by the president, subject to the approval of the board of directors. So I will read to you the committee names and members. The Finance Committee now consists of Howard Fox as chair, Jim Hopkins and Craig Wayne as members, and Donna Rain Sostak as, oh wait, she's not an alternate.
She's a member.
Craig.
Alternate is Dr. Miss.
Oh, I see, okay, sorry. So, second is Architectural Control and Standards Committee. Now has one non-voting advisor, Lisa Mills. The members of the committee are Robert Muchnick, Chair, Ruth Johnson, Reza Karimi, and Steve Parsons. So you can see we're making smaller committees. The Landscape Committee,
There's a change to that.
Okay.
landscape, which one?
Architectural control.
Okay,
I am off and Howard Fox is on.
well, you're off, okay.
Would you make that correction, please? Howard is on.
Thank you.
That's one.
They keep adding. Okay. So do we need to vote on that? Or just?
Well, we're gonna do at the end.
Okay. Landscape Committee. Steve Parsons, Chair. S.K. Park, Member. Donna Rain Sostak, Member. Ruth Johnson, Alternate. Mark Brenner and Gloria Heinrichs, Advisors.
About Craig.
And Craig Wayne, member. In red.
Oh, he's on? Okay. All right.
That's okay, Ruth, I don't mind you forget my name.
Okay. We'll just make it Howard.
Gee, thanks.
Maintenance and Construction Committee. Reza Karimi as chair. Moon Yoon, a member. Robert Muchnick, a member. Ruth Johnson, a member. S.K. Park, alternate. And Jim Hopkins, a member. Correct? Non-voting, David Gorovitz and Ajit Gidwani. Resident Policy and Compliance Committee. Robert Muchnick, Chair. Members, Reza Karimi, Peggy Moore, Howard Fox, Jim Hopkins, Ruth Johnson, alternate. Advisors, Sharon Yonashiro. Executive Hearings Committee, Robert Muchnick, Chair. Members, Reza Karimi, Howard Fox. And
Alternate.
Ruth Johnson, alternate.
And Donna.
Oh,
Donna is
wait,
alternate.
she's all crossed off.
Donna is alternate.
Okay. Okay, it's crossed out. Water Conservation Committee, Donna Rain Stosak, Chair. Members, Craig Wayne, Ruth Johnson. No alternate. Garden Villa Recreation Room Committee, Moon Yoon, Chair. Member, SK Park. No alternate listed. Oh, wait, Jim Hopkins. Non-voting, Stuart Hack, Lori Barini. Resolve further that Resolution 03-25-107, adopted June 17, 2025, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. That is-
Let's go through the GRF and we make one motion to close it.
Would you like me to go through the GRF one, just to make
Yeah,
it
go ahead.
easier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay. For Community Activities Committee, removed Moon Yoon and removed Reza Karimi as the alternate. So Reza Karimi is the full committee member. Donna Rain Sostak's the alternate for CAC. For Finance, Donna Rain Sostak's the alternate. Howard Fox is a full member. Robert Muchnick was removed as the alternate and removed as a member. And then Jim Hopkins was added as a member for Finance. Landscape, Steve Parsons was added as an alternate. Craig Wayne, who was the alternate, was removed. And then Ruth Johnson was added. Yes, and Donna's on the committee, yes. Maintenance and Construction Committee removed Reza Karimi, Steve Parsons, Robert Muchnick, who was the alternate, added Jim Hopkins, Ruth Johnson, and Craig Wayne. Craig Wayne's the alternate. Broadband, there's no changes. Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Ruth Johnson remains on the committee. Steve Parsons and Craig Wayne, who is the alternate, were removed. And Howard, wait, which one was on? Okay, thank you. Jim Hopkins was added. Security and Community Access, Peggy Moore was removed. Reza Karimi, who was the alternate, was removed. Ruth Johnson remains on. Craig Wayne was added, and Howard Fox was added, who is the alternate. Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Steve Parsons remains on the committee. Ruth Johnson and Craig Wayne, who is the alternate, was removed. Donna Rain Sostak and Howard Fox, who's the alternate, was added. No changes to the traffic hearings, no changes to ITAC, and the only other change is for Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee, removed Steve Parsons as the alternate and added Ruth Johnson as the alternate.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve this?
Second.
Second? Any
With
other
the cha-
discussion, changes?
With the changes that we made?
Yeah, with all the changes. Okay? Yep.
The only question I have is under executive hearings. It says Donna Rain, but then it's crossed out odd month.
No,
Crossed
Donna
out.
is the alternate. Donna.
So we need to
and
make her call the
Fox are
alternate too. The rest of it says alternate.
Yeah,
We should, next to her, say alternate.
yeah. They make a correction on that. They said
You see what I'm saying?
on the executive committee for Donna, she said alternate. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of just having those other two items crossed out.
Okay. All right. Is there any other comments? If not, if approved, everyone okay? No, right. Now we go to number 11, new business. Item A. Madam
Res-
Secretary.
Resolution 0325XX, vehicle traffic and parking rules. Whereas the Security Services Department is responsible for the administration of the Laguna Woods Village vehicle traffic and parking rules. And whereas the Golden Rain Foundation has recognized the need to amend the vehicle traffic and parking rules with removal of the traffic school program. And now therefore it be resolved on November 18th, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the vehicle traffic and parking rules as attached to the official meetings minutes of this meeting. And resolve further, and Resolution 31985, approved August 20th, 2019, are hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written. This is an initial notification.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move.
Steve? Second, Donna? Any discussion? If not, say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Okay. Next one, item B, please.
Let's see.
Resolution M50-25.
Where's B? Lost it. Let me just. A, C. I have a C. Entertain a motion. Is there a B? I don't have a B. I have an A and a C.
11B is entertain a motion to review and consider the supporting resolution M50-25XX, GRF bylaws amendment. This is the resolution to support Mutual 50's proposal for the to revise the GRF bylaws at a corporate meeting. Yeah, you just make a motion to approve their resolution. That's all you need to
Okay.
do.
Do you have a
You're
motion?
you're essentially
Yeah.
just supporting
Yeah,
their.
do I have a
this
motion
one,
to
no
approve?
papers.
Yeah, do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, discussion?
None? Go ahead.
Yeah, just briefly, I want to just call everybody's attention. This is the recall of delegates which are specifically assigned to, by a particular board, assigned to the GRF board,
Yeah.
not the broadly elected.
No,
I just want to make sure that,
Yeah.
everybody understands that. Is there any rationale to that distinction?
I think my understanding was that delegates could be removed by the process with which they became members.
Yes.
So if they were elected broadly, then that would be the only way they could be removed. If they were selected by a mutual, et cetera, then that body could remove them. That was the distinction.
Yeah, I don't have a disagreement with that. I just wanted to bring out the rationale to it.
okay. Any other question?
No?
All agree? Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now we go to number C, entertain the motion to approve increase in the annual electric vehicle charge fee.
Resolution 0325XX, Zero Emission Vehicles, short ZEV, annual fee for use of a standard 120-volt outlet. Whereas Third Laguna Hills Mutual has previously permitted electric vehicle owners to utilize 120-volt outlets in common areas under a $240 annual fee structure established in 2015. And whereas the current annual electric vehicle charge does not reflect the actual cost of electricity consumed by zero-emission vehicles charged within the community. And whereas at the October 7th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting, The committee reviewed staff's recommendations for an increase to the annual electric vehicle charge for zero-emission vehicles from $240 to $420 based on usage assumptions. And whereas zero-emission and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle users who have paid the current annual fee through December 31st, 2025, prior to November 18th, 2025, will not be subject to the increased fee until January 1st, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved, on November 18th, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorized to carry out this resolution as written, that owners of electric vehicles electing to charge their vehicle within the 3rd Laguna Hills Mutual shall be assessed an annual electric vehicle charge fee of $420. Every ZEV hybrid and HEV hybrid electric vehicle must be registered through the automobile registration process and obtain a decal from Resident Services that must be visibly displayed on the inside lower corner of the opposite window of the charge point while charging from mutual outlets. Is that clear?
Yeah, that was because some vehicles charge at the rear of the
Right.
vehicle and some at the front. And so putting it on the rear, if it's a vehicle that charges the front, no one would see the sticker. So
Right.
it was to
Correct.
make it visible.
Unauthorized connections to power outlets may be subject to disconnection by security staff in addition to other enforcement actions. 2, an annual January to December electricity usage fee set by the third board will be required for every electric vehicle registered and electing to charge in the mutual. This fee may be prorated for ZEVs and PHEVs registered during the year. Charging must occur in compliance with posted guidelines to avoid overloading circuits. Residents are encouraged to coordinate with neighbors and stagger charging times to prevent circuit breaker trips. Recommended amperage draw is no more than 8 amps, and if more than 2 vehicles are using a bank of circuits, each vehicle should limit to 5 amps or less. In the interest of safety, unattended extension cords may not be used in third for any purpose. Any unattended extension cords may be disconnected by security staff, in addition to other enforcement actions. Owners of ZEVs and PHEVs are solely responsible for maintenance of the vehicles and any associated charging equipment. No modifications may be made to mutual outlets, circuit breakers, or wiring without proper authorization. Owners seeking to use high voltage charging must comply with board-approved alteration standard section 44 and shall be required to apply for a permit and make necessary arrangements with the electrical service provider, currently SCE, for installation of a separate service panel and conduit and appropriate electrical outlet. In such an event, vehicle registration will not be required. Connection to outlets controlled by GRF, United or Mutual 50 is prohibited except for self-contained fee-for-use charging stations. Connection to an outlet metered at any individual manner is prohibited without the controlling owner's express permission. Lastly, the decal is the property of Third Mutual and may be revoked upon expiration, withdrawal, or termination of the program, or non-compliance with these rules. Resolve further that Resolution 03-15-129, adopted on September 15, 2015 is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Remember, these are going on 28 days,
Yes.
so we're going to revisit them after 28 days. All agreed? Say aye. Thank you. Next one, item D for electric golf cart.
Okay.
Do you need a rest?
If you need a rest.
Is it here?
Yes.
G?
Yeah, we have.
Where are
All the resolution.
New electric golf cart fee. Trying to find it first. Letter G. We don't need, don't have a resolution here. A motion. Where are you getting these? D. Oh, this goes to that. Huh?
I think you passed.
Okay.
Read that.
Oh, read yours, okay. Resolution 0325XX, electric golf cart annual fee for use of a standard 120-volt outlet. Whereas, Laguna Hills Mutual currently permits residents to own and operate electric golf carts, which may be charged using mutual-owned 120-volt outlets in common areas. And whereas the existing annual golf cart fee of $155, last updated in 2015, no longer reflects the true cost of electricity borne for the mutual for the charging of these vehicles. And at the October 7th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting, the committee approved an increase to the electric golf cart annual fee, matching the cost of electricity increase between 2025, which was at 18 cents per kilowatt hour, and 25, which is now 34 cents per kilowatt hour, effective January 1, 2016. And therefore be it resolved on November 18, 2025, Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorizes to carry out this resolution as written, that owners of golf carts electing to charge their vehicle within the 3rd Laguna Hills shall be assessed an annual golf cart charge fee of $292. And resolve further that residents operating electric golf carts shall obtain a valid decal from Resident Services indicating payment of the annual fee before charging in mutual outlets. And resolve further, an annual January through December electricity usage fee set by the 3rd Board will be required for every electric golf cart registered and electing to charge in the mutual. This fee may be prorated, registered, I think it should say it should be registered during the year for $24.33 monthly. Charging must occur in compliance with posted guidelines to avoid overloading circuits. Residents are encouraged to coordinate with neighbors and stagger charging times to prevent circuit breaker trips. Recommended amperage draw is no more than 8 amps, and if 2 vehicles are using a bank of circuits, each vehicle should limit to 5 amps or less. Resolved further, owners are solely responsible for maintenance of the vehicles and any associated charging equipment. No modifications may be made to mutual outlets, circuit breakers, or wiring without proper authorization. Resolved further, owners seeking to use high voltage charging must comply with board-approved alteration standard section 44 and shall be required to apply for a permit and make necessary arrangements with the electrical service provider, currently SCE, for installation of a separate service panel and conduit and appropriate electrical outlet. In such an event, vehicle registration will not be required. Resolve further that Resolution 31542, adopted on April 21, 2015, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
I have a motion.
So moved.
A second. Kurt, second. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, say aye. Thank you. Okay, next one is entertain a motion to collect lien enforcement.
What is it? I got it. G. Okay. Resolution 0325XX, 26 Collection and Lien Enforcement Policy. Whereas, in accordance with California Civil Code, 3rd Laguna Hills Mutual maintains a collection and lien enforcement policy that outlines the procedures, policies, and practices employed by the mutual in enforcing lien rights or other legal remedies for default in payment of assessments. And whereas legal counsel has reviewed the existing collection and lien enforcement policy and determined that the updated policy complies with civil code requirements and reflects current practices for collection of mutual delinquencies. Now therefore be it resolved, November 18, 2025, that the Board of Directors hereby adopts the 2026 3rd Laguna Hills Mutual Collection and Lien Enforcement Policy as attached to the official minutes of this meeting. And resolve further, the policy statement is provided pursuant to the requirements of California Civil Code, Section 5310A7, and will be distributed to members in November 2024 as part of the annual policy statement. Is that correct? Resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby resolved on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. And this too is out for 28-day review.
Thank you.
Question before you vote.
Sure.
Going back to the second last paragraph, is November 2024 correct?
And that was my question.
Okay.
It's part of the annual mailing for 2025. So when this comes before you for next month for the final approval, it will say 2025.
Oh, okay.
Because it gives them 28 days anyway. Okay. Any other question? Oh, what? I need a motion for to begin.
Hey.
Second, Donna. Any discussion? None? All good? Okay, thank you. The next three, F, G, and H, are variance requests. I suggest that we do one motion for all three of them, if the board agrees, or you want to read every one of them?
All at once.
All at once?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the F, G, and H?
So moved.
Any discussion? Thank you. All agree? Okay. Now we go to number I. Entertain a motion to fruit trees and vegetable policy.
Oh, that's a new one.
Here.
Okay, I got it.
Here.
I got it right here.
You got it?
I got it. Have you got it?
Okay. Resolution 0325XX, Fruit Tree and Vegetables Policy. Whereas fruit trees in the common area were planted by or at the request of members as part of the discontinued Yellow Stake program. and fruit trees are not maintained or trimmed by the mutual and are the responsibility of the member to maintain. And whereas the maintenance of fruit trees is passed on to new members with the purchase of the residence, and whereas fruit trees and vegetable gardens are a known attractant and food source for wildlife and rodents, and unmaintained fruit trees exacerbate the problem. Whereas 2 garden centers have been provided by the Golden Rain Foundation for the purpose of providing a place for residents to grow vegetables or other crops. And whereas there has been a consistent increase in rodent and wildlife activity. Now therefore it be resolved, November 18th, 2025, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby prohibits the planting of any fruit trees in common area and requires members to maintain existing fruit trees in the common area and in exclusive use common areas. And resolve further the planting of vegetables in the common area is prohibited. Resolve further that the managing agent is hereby authorized and directed to remove any vegetable plants found planted in the common area. Resolve further to maintain the health and safety of the members' fruit trees found to be unmaintained and be removed with notice by the mutual tree. And resolve further, existing fruit trees in the common area are to be removed in the resale process. And resolve further, revised 03-23-146, revised September 19, 2023, is hereby superseded in its entirety and is no longer in effect. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. And again, this is going out for 28-day review.
Do you have a motion?
I move that we accept this proposal.
Any second? Donna, second? Any question? Yes.
Yeah, I'd like just an explanation of the distinction between a fruit tree and a vegetable plant, in the sense that they're treated differently upon resale, and one is removed. Vegetable plants are removed upon discovery, whereas fruit trees are removed upon resale. I just wanted to get an explanation.
Yeah. Oh, you're looking for explanation?
Of why?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to understand the distinction. Ah, there he is.
There it is.
He's been
It's the
waiting.
man.
This is an easy one. You currently have a policy that states that staff is to remove vegetable policy upon discovery. So it's already, that part's already a rule. We're just reinforcing it by adding it to the new policy.
So there's no policy upon removal of fruit trees upon discovery?
I believe the reasoning behind that is fruit trees are more of a permanent fixture. Vegetables come and go. As you take them out there, you replant them a couple of months later. A fruit tree is much more of a investment.
I knew you had an answer. Thanks.
Kirk, could you also talk about rodent activity? Driving
Yeah.
part of this?
Well, this is some of the driver behind this. To give the full background of the full board, as Siobhan mentioned earlier, we met with city officials, Laguna Beach Animal Control, regarding the coyote issue, and the coyote issue and the rodent issue are intermined. They're both after the same source of food, with the difference being rats are also a source of food for coyotes.
Oh.
So the whole idea behind this is the number one way to reduce rodents, by the way, since Third canceled, they used to have this policy of resale. When they first put the policy of removing them at resale, rodent tickets plummeted. There's a graph in here that shows you how much they went down. When after rescinding that rule, the rodent tickets went way back up. The rodent calls went back up. And we've also had a rash of people that we're currently combating, of people planting fruit trees thinking that they're allowed. So This whole idea is the best way to reduce rodent populations. You're never going to get rid of them completely, but the way to reduce rodent populations and consequently coyote populations is to reduce the amount of food available to them. So there's many ways, especially for rodents. It's personal hygiene around your home, around your trash cans, as well as vegetables and fruit. And some people just think that they pick fruit off the ground. Coyotes can reach 3 to 5 feet up into trees, and rats climb trees. So the whole way is to reduce the amount of food available to them, and that reduces their desire to be here within the village.
And Kurt, hasn't there also been a change in the rat traps and the chemical that's used that isn't quite as powerful as it was
Yes,
before?
that was 3 years
So
ago.
that's just
About the same
exacerbated.
time you rescinded the rule. They changed the rule from using Gen 2, meaning more modern rodenticides, back to Gen 1 for the safety of wildlife, but it takes twice as much of the rodenticide. Rodent has to visit the box 3 to 4 times before it becomes lethal, whereas with the Gen 2 it was 1 time. So it takes longer to get rid of them too.
Okay. Thank you, Kurt. Any other question? If not, any other comment? If I'll say aye, approve.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Now we go to item number 12. Thank you, Madam President, Madam Secretary. Thank you. I elevated. Okay. Now we start with the third mutual committee report. We start with Director Fox for the financial.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Okay, so our Finance Committee met last on October 7th, 2025. Just as an aside, our next meeting is November 4th of 2025, and I thank you. Not just kidding. It is a closed meeting. Anyway, to get to the point here, Treasurer's Report for October 21. We have a series of slides that we're going to be showing you, and there we go. Okay, this first slide shows summary activity through August 31st of 2025, and we can see that the total revenue for third was right in the middle there, 32.9 million, as compared to expenses right below it, 30 million, resulting in a net revenue for the 8 months of 2.9 million. This table takes the full income statement and compares those results to budget, reflecting a favorable year-to-date net revenue variance of $2.3 million. That's this slide. Any questions, anybody? No, let's move on. Slide number 2. Okay, these are the most significant variances to budget in the expenses here. Outside services was favorable by $1.145 million, million dollars, right? Okay. The favorable variance primarily is in landscape due to mowing cycles being moved to in-house labor. In M&C, no contingency funding was needed for full copper pipe replacements through the period. In 2024, the board approved to reallocate funds from the epoxy remediation program to support full copper pipe replacements on an as-needed basis. Further, the variance is timing of invoicing for tree maintenance. That is the reason for the outside services positive variance. Insurance, the favorable variance is due to savings because our property insurance went down year over year. Investment income, a positive variance because we have a little more invested than we did in prior years. Materials and supplies, small positive variance there due to the timing of both materials, invoicing, and program work. Key impacted areas include carpentry and paint. In carpentry, dry rot work began later than anticipated. For the exterior paint program, work is in the initial phases with 2 of 7 cul-de-sacs completed. Both carpentry and paint are projected to land on budget by the year end. And then we have utilities and telephone are unfavorable variance, and that's due to higher water usage and rates, electricity rates, and trash rates than were anticipated. Next slide would be, you see a pie chart here showing relative amounts of non-assessment revenues to each other. Let's see. The year-to-date amount of non-assessment revenues is just under $2.5 million. And you can see the biggest amount of revenue was from the investment income, followed by chargeable services, and various and sundry other smaller amounts. Next slide. This pie chart, we see the expenses to date of $30 million by category, starting with the largest categories of employee compensation and related expenses, outside services, and then utilities, and then various and sundry other. And that's this chart. Moving on to slide number 5. What do we have here? Okay, we watch very closely the operating portion of our financial results. The operating fund shows a surplus of $933,000 through the reporting period. This shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with $21.2 million coming in from assessments and $1.5 million coming from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenditures of $21.8 million, not including any depreciation. Slide 6 would be the non-operating fund balances, and we show here the net activity for each of these funds as shown since the beginning of the year through the end of August. Year-to-date contributions, interest, and fund transfers totaled $10.2 million coming in, and then we had fund expenditures of $8 million and change, resulting in a net increase of $2 million since the beginning of the year for these 8 months. Next slide would be the fund balances, Third Mutual. What do we got here? It's for your own edification. You can see relative 1 month to the year to the next. Yeah. And you can see that the fourth bar is about $2 million less than the fifth bar. Has been a steady increase, which is a good thing to set aside money for future expenses, which we all know are coming. And next slide, the resale history. Okay, this one, it appears, and we'll get to this later, I guess, in the next, but I think the resales are down a little bit year over year.
4 units.
I think there's another chart we're going to see, which is going to show that.
As well as the selling.
Well, we'll get to that later. Okay, anyway, this is just a chart that shows you what the resales are month to month for over the past 3 years. And you can make of it what you will. Yeah. Okay, that is, anybody have any questions or anything? Not that I have answers, but you can have all the questions you like. Okay, that's it. Yes, sir.
Just a note, I know you mentioned in passing that the resales were down. Actually, they're up year to year, 246 to 250 in third.
Well, we'll get to that in a second when we get to the monthly resale report.
Oh, I thought you mentioned.
The bar chart looks great. Looks
Okay.
like we're on the rise, but I don't know. We'll see. Any other comments, questions? Move on. Okay, moving on, the third Finance Committee report. Anything I have to give about that? Is that sufficient? No, there's nothing outstanding came out of our last committee meeting, just ongoing month-to-month transactions. I advise everybody who's watching or listening that they really should stop in at the Finance Committee, the open meeting when available, just to get some idea of where your money is going and why, when the discussion comes up, which it inevitably does every single year about raising dues, you need to know why. You need to ask the question, you live here, and it shouldn't be like a surprise every year when people say we're raising dues. You should know it's coming just by knowing what's going on in the village and what things are costing. Whatever it's costing you for your own personal life, the village is affected as well. So that's just my little 2 cents soapbox comment. What?
Yeah, I was just going to say for anybody who might be listening that the January-February issue of The Breeze has a very nice chart that shows exactly where your monthly assessment is going by, is it landscape, is it water, utilities, et cetera, broken down. It also includes the breakdown for GRF because we pay one bill, but it's partialed out. So, and every single year it's the January-February issue. So if you hang on to that, you can kind of compare not just, it went up X amount, but where it went up and where your money is going.
Yeah, thank you, Director. Yeah, I mean, when you get your electric bill and you notice that the rates have gone up personally in your home, well, it's going up for us too. So somebody's going to have to pay that, and that's going to be all of us.
And we don't get a water bill that's in the monthly assessment.
We don't get the water bill,
that's the big
which is
surprise.
correct. So it's kind of one of those hidden fees that we don't see. Okay, enough of that soapbox. Let's move on to resales and leasing reports and whatever that is. This is where I was making a comment about resale sales coming down a little bit. If you notice in the month of September, in the middle, it's a significant decrease in third sales here, year to year and also month to month. So that results in smaller income coming in to, I guess, GRF for their fee that they're collecting, right?
But that's actually.
But that's not us.
No, and it's going to have to be looked at.
Whatever. Okay. Other than that, it's not a lot to say here. Anyway, I think that's my report.
Okay, thank you, Director Fox. Next is report of Active Control and Standard Committee. Dr. Moon is not here. The Architect Control and Standard met on September 8th, and they discussed some variances for, a stair lift in the common area for the staircases, and they recommended for the approval that probably go to the board for that. That was the main item. Their next meeting is scheduled for October 13, 2025. Which I don't have a report for. So that's, a report that's supposed to be here, but is until September 8th was there. But anyway, the next meeting, I don't have that. Do you know what the next meeting is for that?
For MNC?
For the
ACSC?
architect control and standards.
November 10th?
November 10th
November 10th.
at
Okay, because-
9:30 a.m. in the board.
Because the report that I have is from October 13th.
Correct, yeah. Unfortunately, staff hasn't produced the updated minutes.
Okay, thank you. And next one is maintenance and construction. Yours truly here. We met on October 6th, and we discussed some of the type of shingle materials, especially for terracotta color shingles that we're going to use for the roofing. We selected a little bit darker color to match the other type of roofing that we have in the community. We also had a resolution we suggested that we're going to the board restoration of the removed vigas. When we do the painting of those buildings, we put the vigas back during that period of time, which is going to be a few years for that. And there was a discussion of Gate 11 nuisance water seepage report, and they're still working on that, MNC. And the next meeting going to be November 3rd at 1:30 in the boardroom. The next report, the landscape, Director Parson.
Okay, thank you. The last meeting was on September 4th. We covered the particulars in the October meeting, so I have nothing new to report at this time.
Thank you. Next is water conservation, Director Rensosi.
Yes, very special thanks to Dennis Cafferty, General Manager of El Toro Water District, for an excellent presentation at the beginning of our meeting on the future of water. And keeping that in mind, a week from Thursday, on October the 30th at 2 p.m., and it says the Elm Room, my understanding is it's been moved to here in the boardroom. And so you might want to check at the desk. If it looks like the boardroom's empty, you could sneak over to the Elm Room. We try to keep it on the main floor so there's no difficulty getting to the meeting. I urge people to come and participate because, as we heard in our monthly bills, we don't see the water bill. We kind of need to remind it. And so the committee is going to be working very hard on having some public service messages. We're going to work with TV6 to see if we can't have a panel discussion and possibly carve out Dennis Cafferty's presentation into a special showing because it was filmed. And so if we can do that and have some repeated things. But I urge any of you to please, consider coming to the October 30th meeting at 2 p.m. and again here in the boardroom.
So for clarification, you guys are still in the Elm Room? You guys are still in the Elm Room?
Okay, yeah, yesterday I got a thing from from staff saying it was here.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's either here or there. No, and the Elm Room is right next door, and so the Elm Room is preferable because it's a smaller group and we usually have discussion, and it isn't always as easy to have discussion with the audience when the audience is out there and we're sitting up here. So, that's for a committee that is a different meeting. And someone was smiling, saying everybody's gone. I'm from the audience, but. And so it's either, as I say, she just said the boardroom yesterday. So we'll find out. Either way, we're flexible. And that's the report. And again, think about every time you turn the faucet on. We're also working, by the way, just for fun. There was a wonderful presentation done on Walter the water waster. He would kind of he would go bopping through the community and his conscience would be following him, and it was all filmed. And he would turn a faucet on and we would hear Walter. And so what we're going to do is work with TV6 and see if maybe we can't have a few of those, pull out each individual one and have those appear when they have a 30-second time spot or something, just to keep water conservation in the forefront of our minds. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Director Husek. The next report is resident policy and compliance. The committee met on September 23rd. They discussed a few items, such as the financial qualification policy for purchasing 1, 2, or 3 units in the in the community, and a recommendation is being sent to the as a financial qualification to the finance also for consideration. Also discuss the vehicle traffic parking rules and the resolution of GRF bylaws amendment. Those are the items that we discussed. The next meeting is scheduled for October 28th in the boardroom. Next report is for the Garden Villas. Mr. Yoon is not here, and they met on July 16, according to what I have, and the next meeting is scheduled for October 29. Now we go to the GRF committee highlights. First one is the community activity, Director Fox.
Thank you. The meeting actually was unremarkable. Nothing was really accomplished, and anything of consequence was tabled to the future. And that's my report.
Thank you.
Next meeting is December 11th at 1:30 in the boardroom.
Okay. Since you're on the roll, the next one
I'm cooking here.
Laguna Woods Village traffic hearing.
Traffic hearings, we threw them all in the brig, and they should be getting out short. I'm just kidding. Nothing out of the ordinary. We just conducted business as usual, and that's my report.
Okay. The next one, Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Director Parson.
Yes, last meeting we had an interesting speaker, Captain Jack Ackerman, came and spoke to us. He's our representative to the Orange County Police Department. He went over many different things as to how coordination is going to be met between us, the city, and Orange County, and what to look for in certain disasters. So we thought that was very good. One question remained that we still need to cover is what do we need to do as residents for ourselves other than drop cover and hold on. I think that's going to be a topic for future things. But at this time, I'd like to ask our captain from our police department to come up and talk to us on two subjects. One is Even Bridge communication program. And what that is going to do, it's more global and it's more responsive for a rapid response. And then also an update on shakeout that just took place.
With regards to Everbridge, I'm going to defer to Director Chuck Hollins. He'll have more information with regards to that. And then with regards to the Great Shakeout, we held an exercise, a readiness exercise, this past Thursday during the Great Shakeout. So once the Great Shakeout took effect at 10:16 a.m., we kind of deployed our personnel as if we were actually having a sizable seismic event. The main purpose of this was in order to check our readiness with regards to communication. And so we had our amateur radio club members, one at our makeshift EOC just for the purpose of the exercise, and the other at Clubhouse 1, which is where we deemed that clubhouse to be safe. We had security personnel go out to make sure that it was safe, check gas lines, structure. Once that was done, we contacted our clubhouse coordinator. Clubhouse coordinator had responded along with good neighbor captains. We did mock reports that needed to be reported from the clubhouse to the EOC. And again, that was the main intent for us anyway, was the communication aspect of it. And I'm proud to say that it went without a hitch. Everything was great. I would say that all security and all personnel involved really did a tremendous job with that exercise. Any questions on that?
Thank you. Any question?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Any other thing? Director Parson?
Yes, on the GRF Maintenance Construction Committee meeting, it was held on October 8th, and some things that happened there was they went through the project log. If you're not familiar with that, they spent a lot of time on the project log. both on the expenses and then the percent of completion. Also, a big discussion took place on charge point. That's for taking your EV cars and recharging them. So some things will be coming out of that, I'm sure. Another thing was the El Toro Water District Aliso Creek Sewer Lift Station Improvement Project. Quite a mouthful there. I'll just read a little bit about what they did there. Hannah Ford, the Director of Engineering, and Dennis Cafferty, General Manager of the El Toro Water District, presented an overview of the planned Aliso Creek Lift Station Improvements Project. They discussed upgrades to the aging infrastructure, environmental enhancements, and the project timeline. Sure that we're going to hear more about that in the near future here, especially with the infrastructure that he mentioned this morning. So those were the main topics that were covered there.
Thank you.
Oh, next meeting, let me flip the page. December 10th, 9:30 a.m.
GR Finance Committee, Director Fox.
Sure. Thanks for calling on me. Okay, so the Finance Committee for GRF. I guess the last meeting was October 15th, according to the notes here. Anyway, what did we do October 15th? We discussed the budget, the finalization of the budget for next year.
That fee for when you purchase.
The fee for when you purchase was discussed.
That may
And
need
it's going
continuing
up.
discussion.
The GRF,
Yeah.
the fee, which is $7,500, is discussed. We were discussing a raise to, I'm not sure what we decided, actually.
Actually, I think that may have to be opened up again. Because.
I'm not sure that we made a final decision.
Well, we sort of did, but it was at the end and everyone was tired. And there was a suggestion, let's do it this way, and it sounded really good till we calculated the numbers.
Which was ridiculous.
Which didn't sound so good.
The initial conversation was an increase from 7,500 to 10,000, which is still a lot. But then part of the conversation filtered into a flat percentage of the purchase price, which is ridiculous in my opinion.
And I believe technically, according to the regulations and the trust, this is shared. And so everybody, whether you live in a very small unit or one of the biggest single-family unattached houses, your use of the facilities is exactly the same.
In English, what that means, if you spend $2 million on a house and you pay 2% for your fee, you're not getting more for your money than if you spent $500,000 and paid 2% fee.
Yeah, so that's something that will be important to keep an eye on. And that's the reason for the discussion now. It's going to be important in the next Finance Committee meeting. It should be brought up again because it's really kind of a violation of the principle of the trust.
And then there are various other discussions about other aspects of the GRF financials, which is fairly normal. Nothing stands out. That's the report. The next meeting, it's every 2 months. I think this is wrong here. It says, sorry, this is right. Okay, the regular meeting is every 2 months, but we have a special meeting on the 27th of this month, which I guess is coming up very soon. And the purpose of this meeting, I believe, is how we can make money, which I'm unclear as to the purpose of the meeting, to be honest. And that's my report.
Thank you.
I believe fee structure is also part of this next meeting.
I would think.
Right.
Next item is Mobility and Vehicle Committee, Director Johnson.
Our last meeting was in August. We haven't had a meeting since. The next meeting is scheduled for Do you have that, Paul?
The next mobility meeting's on November 5th.
Okay.
Okay. Next item, GRF Landscape, Director Parson.
Yes, last meeting was on June 16th, 2025. Next meeting is November 17th, 1:30 PM in the boardroom, and will be also a virtual meeting.
Thank you. Next one is space planning. The space planning ad hoc committee met yesterday, and 134 pages of the consultant was presented by the staff, but not the consultant. Consultant were missing in action, so we couldn't ask the consultant what was in the report, and the staff just gave us the history rather than discussing it, and that was a little bit disappointing that the consultant wasn't there. But anyway, the ad hoc committee decided, based on, very short meeting, to request or send a request to GRF board to go for the RFP for Building E, based on, discussion. That was the meeting yesterday, and the next meeting is scheduled for is TBD, because we don't know if this ad hoc committee is going to continue or not, based on what's happening there. All righty. The next is Information Technology Committee, Director Hopkins.
Yes, this committee has been in existence for about 3.5, 4 years now. And so when we started this process, we understood it was going to be a total rewrite of our information systems here. Now, we've always called it information systems. It's the common way to talk about it today is ERP, because it's an enterprise resource planning system. But what I want to emphasize is what this involved is, rather than having a program or 3 programs or 12 programs come in where you fit your process to the program, this basically was, we now have processes that can be improved based on our total understanding of all of our processes and rewrite of the process as necessary, as well as the software to support it. Basically, roll your own software. So what we've done here is the first phase. It was actually done in phase 1 and 2. First phase was the back office. In other words, accounting, procurement, inventory, budgeting, all the things that are not facing the resident and the users. The next phase is where we are now, is we're starting to enhance and rewrite processes for engagement with our customers / residents / even vendors. And so that process is ongoing. We should finish phase 2 somewhere in the first quarter. And as a result of that, we will start to see continuous enhancements, efficiencies, etc., within, I'll call it service delivery to the customer / resident. We may not see it in the ways we would want to see it, but it is there in terms of the background and what's being delivered. It allows the management of VMS to essentially, I like to say, click a button and see what's going on. There's going to be a lot more interface with the field. In other words, they'll be able to take pictures of what's going on, and it goes directly up to the back to management so that they can manage it in a lot closer way. So we'll start to see some of these improvements, but I just want to emphasize that this has been a lot of work, and it's been the entire VMS organization, not just the IT people or our vendor. It's been the entire VMS organization that has participated in process improvement and service delivery. But nothing's perfect, so we'll continue to. In my day, we used to call it continuous improvement. So there'll be continuous improvement to all of our processes as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Like you were saying, it's going to be really an enhancement. And one of the big beneficiaries of this is going to be landscape. Huge. It's going to be a huge improvement. And they've already started feeling some of these improvements. So stand by for more.
And next one is GRF Broadband Ad Hoc Committee. They have a committee made at a closed meeting on October 8th. Pretty much our CEO this morning talked about, broadband progress and things are moving forward. We are a little bit behind the schedule, but they're working the wrinkle out and trying to catch up. But other than that, is moving forward. The next meeting is scheduled for January 14 at 1:30 p.m. Is closed meeting. Okay, next item.
Next
is-
meeting should be an open meeting for broadband.
Pardon?
Broadband should be open for the next meeting.
Next meeting is open?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
typically an open meeting now, but except your
All
last
right.
session.
That's good. Security and Community Access Committee, Director Moore.
Not here.
She's online. Peggy?
Wait, I'll do it.
Oh, you do it?
Oh,
Okay,
wait,
go ahead.
is Peggy here?
Yeah, she's on.
Oh,
That's me clicking the cursor to unmute her.
Peggy?
Doesn't look like she's responding to my request.
Yeah,
If someone
go
else
ahead.
wants to jump on and do it.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Director Johnson.
So, the meeting was held, recently. Anyway, the most popular, common thing that came up is that we need a policy for our welfare checks, that residents don't feel that we're doing a very good job at welfare, so we've charged security to come up with a proposal, a way to better handle it. And I'm going to talk to social services after this meeting too, about the number of calls they get, because we didn't get that information. How many people are actually called for welfare checks? They went over statistics of violations for a number of things. The main one for traffic, of course, is we've all experienced people don't stop at stop signs. They said 35% of the traffic violations are for people that don't stop. Let's see, the major problem with residents is falls, over 800 last year, falls, so they're trying to work with social services to determine if there's a better classes, some way we can help them with falls. And of course, the popular subject was gate codes, which seems to be on everyone's mind. If anyone's interested, and I'm sure you are, tomorrow is the next meeting at 1:30, and I've heard that there's going to be a lot of people show up because they took out a full-page ad in the Globe to fight automated gates, which I am not in favor of, and I don't believe the board is either, but
Yeah, I
they
believe
have
that was
quite a
discussed at the
crowd.
last GRF meeting.
What?
That was discussed at the last GRF meeting. They removed
This
it already.
Yeah, and so it might be an exciting meeting if you want something to do tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 in this room.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the automatic gates is unmanned.
Yes,
And I think that's, our gates
That's
right
the
now are
issue.
sort of automatic. You pull up and when
Right.
they work, they open. But
Right.
the real issue isn't whether or not they work automatically, but whether or not there's an attendant at
Right,
them.
and that's the
that
issue.
is what people are concerned, or are expressing concern about.
And-
Okay, yes.
Yeah, and I think this issue shows the value of the process that should be followed. I believe this item was inserted as a financial item in the budget at one of the last moments, instead of having a review and discussion at committee, et cetera,
Yeah.
and be part of a recommendation. So even though obviously the recommendation, if you will, or the budgetary item is not, most people are not in favor of it, if it had followed the process, we never would have had this outcry. And so process is important.
Yeah, when you put the cart before the horse and the idea, then you start allocating money, that's, yes.
And just to add to the automated gate discussion, there is no current project that staff is working on.
Yeah.
So it's just like a line item, as Director Hopkins mentioned, that was part of the budget process, and I believe GRF has changed direction on
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah, because usually we don't have idea and then budget for ideas. usually you have projects that you allocate money for, but right now, we have idea, then we allocate money. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, but that's somebody else's problem. Okay, number
No, it's
14,
our
future agenda items. Is there any other items you want to add to the future agenda?
I think we can take all of those off because we covered them today.
Yeah, these are still on there because they're on 28 days, so we.
Okay.
Unless come off to 28 days, you cannot take them off. Okay, no more? None? Okay, now we go to director's comment. I start with Mr. Hopkins. Mr. Craig?
Yes, just a final comment here. I don't know if you people have heard about the Urban Forest Management Plan. It was adopted in 2023. A lot of people didn't know about it. Staff has been working with it, and we wondered where they were coming from. Now the committee members have a copy of that plan, as well as available plants that are in the nursery. So I hope to have a working group meeting with our landscape folks to plot a plan from now on. But that plan is very exhaustive, very, very good. I read it at home over the weekend, and I stood up and I said, finally, I have something that's really good. And it's fantastic. It's online too if you want to read it.
Yeah, I agree. I have a copy. Looks good. Director Park? Director
No,
Rocha?
and just to add on to the urban forest plan, it's when a tree is removed, when the community was first developed, some trees were put in that weren't native trees. There were trees that are water hungry, trees that kind of grow and grow and grow. and so this plan is when a tree is removed, there is a plan for what it gets replaced with. But we also don't do our replacements till fall because that's when we're likely to have cooler weather and rain. So sometimes people see a tree is removed and they say, wait a minute, they removed my tree and nothing was put back. It won't be put back till the fall. But bringing that urban forest plan forward, it's really wonderful, and it's something that is to go on for years long after this board is not part of the board anymore. They just keep going.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
Director Thor?
Very good meeting. Good job.
Thank you. Director Fox?
Yeah, excellent job. You should take
To
it
the
up
coup d'etat?
as an occupation.
Opportunity.
Anything further? Paul? Anybody from the peanut gallery? Okay, well, if no other items, we recess this session and we go to closed session at 12:30. This is recess.
Very good.